What's up, everyone? All right, so we're going to break down the trades from today. It's Thursday, and I have to say that I am feeling so grateful. If I think back and reflect on the last week, it was a week ago today that I took my single biggest loss of the entire year and finished the day max loss deep in the red. Now, if you recall, on Friday, I uploaded a recap, which I hope you guys have watched and enjoyed, on trading psychology and why our brain makes it so hard for us to recover these losses. I then kind of reset over the weekend. I came back on Monday, had a nice green day Monday. Tuesday, didn't make much progress. But then Wednesday, yesterday, we got some nice action, and again today. And now what you see, if you looked at my equity curve just over the last 7 days, well, if you look at the last 14 days, I was on a nice rally. And then, I had this max loss day here, and then I was able to kind of rally back up. And now after yesterday and today, I'm through all-time highs. And this is the difference in the equity curve between a trader who has discipline and self-control and then a beginner trader. Because what will happen for a lot of beginner traders is instead of being able to get recentered right here, reduce share size, and rally back up, what do? They start doubling down. They start getting desperate. They increase the number of trades they're taking, their accuracy goes down, and they make a little progress, and then they take another step down. They make a little more progress, they take another step down, a little more progress, another step down, and next thing you know, over the course of 30 days or whatever the case is, whatever they made is all gone. Now, look, I went through all of that myself. In fact, someone was just commenting in maybe it was on yesterday's recap saying, Ross, I feel like I'm in this loop where I'll have, 2, 3, 4 weeks of great progress. And then in one day, I give it all back. And they said, what should I do? And so if you are in that position, first of all, I want you to know that you are not alone, not even close, because not only have I been there, I bet half of the people watching these episodes have been there too. This is a very common phenomenon. What happens is on those days, we get what we call emotional hijack. So I would encourage you, if you haven't already, to watch this video on trading psychology, why our brains make it so hard. It makes recovering from loss so hard. I really think you're going to enjoy this. And in that episode, I walk you through the steps, the very specific steps that I take after suffering the big loss to help prevent me from having this extended drawdown. So one of the first things you have to do is recognize what your triggers are. The better you get at recognizing those triggers, basically the things that happen right before you spiral. So if I looked at some of my worst days, some of my worst days, I start the day at 0, I go into the green, and then I, suddenly go from green to red. And rather than stop there, I take another big loss. And then rather than stop there, I take an even bigger loss. And somehow I go from being, up $5,000 to down 25 grand. And I'm like, how does this even happen? This is insane. And I asked myself, Ross, why didn't you walk away right here? And then I say to myself, all right, you didn't walk away right there, but is there a way the next time you have a day like this that you could? And so I asked myself, what happened right here that allowed this to spiral and unwind? And usually for me, one of the things is going from green to red. So when I go from green on the day to red, I find that it is very easy for me to get triggered, to feel this sense of loss. And then what do? We start seeking emotion. Again, I don't need to rehash everything I talked about in this episode, but this is basically it. So in this episode, we're talking about how you go through this cycle of you initially have the emotional reaction, and then you do emotion-seeking actions or emotion-seeking behaviors where you're trying to stop feeling terrible. You feel bad because you just had a loss, and the best way to not feel bad anymore is for the loss to be gone. So now you're desperate for a winner because it'll make you feel better. right? So anyways, I really hope you guys check out this episode. So today, I sat down this morning, and when I first pulled up our gap scanner, we had WORX on the top of the scan. This is a stock that currently has 90 million shares of volume. It's got a low float. The float's 1.46 million shares. But when I sat down at about 6:45 a.m., I could tell that this thing was already crowded. It was thickly traded, and it looked like tug of war. And I asked myself, would I be able to get a 15-cent winner on it? And the answer pretty much immediately was no. Why 15 cents? Well, if you look at my metrics, you'll see that my average winners are about $1,500 and my average share size is 10,000 shares. My average winner is 15 cents a share. So since that's kind of my average, I like when I look at a chart to feel that I have the potential to hit that. Now, a lot of trades that I took today, the biggest winners, far exceeded that. But if I don't have the potential to get even just 10 to 15 cents, I often feel like it's not worth it, right? My daily goal is $5,000. So in order to hit that $5,000 daily goal, I'm not going to get it on one trade. That's not really the way it works for me. It's getting, 4, 5, 6 trades, and hopefully 70% of them are green. So I've got some winners, I've got some losers, and it's just, 10, 15 cent winners, a couple 10, 15 cent losers, and then it nets out to 5,000 on the day, which is a great day. But if I look at a chart and I don't think I even have the potential to get 10 cents or 15 cents of profit, I'll sometimes say it's not even worth it. And so on WRX, I said, it's not worth it. I'm not going to trade this. So in fact, the first stock I traded was BTCT. This was on a Bitcoin sympathy, Bitcoin price moving higher, but BTCT didn't pull away in a big way today. So although I took a trade on it, it was just a small winner. The first stock that I really got dialed in on was TRNR, which, full circle, is the stock I lost $25,000 on last Thursday. But I did make about 10 or 12,000 on it on, I think it was Tuesday, and I made a little profit on it today. So Tuesday we had this spike here, and then it spiked up again here today. So the only thing about this was that the catalyst on TRNR, well, not totally confident about it. I mean, I took the trade, but I was like, we've been seeing other companies put out this similar headline. Board of Directors approves Bitcoin as Treasury Reserve asset. Now, everyone's trying to jump on the Bitcoin wagon, but the train's already left the station. I mean, Bitcoin's at 100,000. So if you're going to load up your reserves here at that price, it's kind of absurd. But in any case, at least in my opinion. So nonetheless, TRNR starts to pop up and I'm like, all right, shoot, well, this thing is going. So, and for Warrior Pro members, we did the live trading archive of this, so you'll be able to watch that if you go through the curriculum. And by the way, I hadn't mentioned this yet. For those of you guys that tune in on YouTube, what you may not know is that our Black Friday sales have now begun. All right, so we now have live Black Friday sales. So you can come on over to warriortrading.com and you can check out the sales. If you go to join now, you'll see the sales, the special sales that we have. Okay, so those are going on right now. And the live trading archives are included for Warrior Pro members. So TRNR starts to pull away, and I actually jumped in 5,000 shares at about $4. That was my first entry. And I sold it at about $4.20 because it popped up here and then it dropped back down. So I was like, I don't know. But I added back as it pulled away. No, sorry. So I got, this is a 10-second chart? Yeah, it is. So first trade, I was in it for just under $4. It goes up to $4.20. I take some profit off the table. And then all of a sudden it pulls away to $4.58, $4.60. And I didn't have a chance to add. So it starts going without me. And I was like, gosh darn it, it's squeezing. And then it goes all the way up here to $5.80. And I finally add for the break of 6. And guess what happens? Reversal. So I actually went from green $1,000 to red $2,000 on this stock. Very annoying. But it bounces down here off of 580. It comes back up to 6. I got a nice trade there. It dips back down to 4. What was it? This one was, and so anyways, we get this curl here up through $6, $6.20, up to a high of $6.40. And it was enough for me to book some profit on it. Okay, so P&L on the day. I got about $5,000 of profit on TRNR, which was good. And that got me my daily goal. So now I've got the daily goal. I've got a little bit of a cushion. And I'm thinking, all right, what's going to come next? So at that point, after TRNR popped up, I was sort of just waiting to see what would be next. I wasn't sure this was going to give us more action. So I just was like, oh, let's just see. We'll hold tight for a second. So I'm holding tight on TRNR and I'm waiting for something else. Now, we end up getting this squeeze on SPAI. So SPAI pops up and it starts squeezing so quickly. I missed the beginning of the move. I don't know if my scanner was muted, but I didn't notice it. So it starts popping up right back here. It goes from 3, pops up to 360, micro pullback goes up to 420, micro pullback goes up to 440, up to 484. It pulls back and I took my first trade right there. Now on this one, I sized up because there was already more volume on it. So this first trade was 20,000 shares. Made $5,000 on the first trade as it goes from 484 up to 540. It pulls back, got a little dip trade on it, get that test to 540, but we started noticing there was resistance on this. Resistance at 550. It comes back up, it breaks through 550. I got a nice trade on this curl right here up through 550 and all the way up to 6. We hit a high of $6 and then we dip down. Let's see right here. We dip down to 560 and then we pop up to 620. Now, this one, let's see. There were a couple of really nice trades on this one here. Let me see. I'm trying to remember kind of the best one. So if we look at this chart, I mean, in total, this thing was strong, but we kept having issue with these hidden sellers. And so the problem with these hidden sellers is that they were really putting up a wall. And we had the first one at 550. So we had a psychological kind of, hold on, let me switch to this drawing tool. Switch to this one. It's fine, I'll use this. So we hit this wall at 550, which was right about here. We hit a wall of 550. So we finally break through that, and then we hit another wall right at 6. Right at $6, there was a massive wall of sellers. We finally break through that, and then we come up to the next level. What is it? 650. So there was someone unloading big size, and you could see here how we had this issue here, and it came up again here. So we had these big sellers up here at 650, and so 550, 650, and then again at 7 when we came up to 7. So this makes me think someone was certainly selling shares. I don't know if it was an insider or who it was, but they were unloading shares, and they've probably continued unloading shares. They were unloading into strength, and they're still unloading even as we're getting weakness. In spite of that, we did have some nice range. And so although I didn't break the ice until 484 right here, because we got some nice swings, dip off of VWAP right there, ascending support, breakout right here, this pullback, cup and handle right here, that was a really nice trade. So the cup and then the handle, we get the breakout up to 680, little pullback up to 7. There was enough room to make money. Now, the only thing that I'll say on this is that if we hadn't had those hidden sellers, this could have gone so much higher. So it's unfortunate that someone wanted to sell that many shares, but it's a 4.2 million share float, currently has volume of 36 million shares. So you've got almost 10 times float rotation, which is good. And the daily chart shows recent IPO and blue sky above 489. So I really felt like, this looked great for a bigger move, and it was disappointing that there were so many sellers on it. It just didn't hold up well. And, TRNR, this one was tricky too. This one, we had that sort of first pop up, where was it? We had this first pop up right here, and then, it goes up to 640, and then it drops all the way down to 5, comes back up, comes back down, double bottoms. I did get a nice trade off this double bottom for a curl back up to 6. But, this is not the area I typically like trading. Below VWAP, MACD is negative. I mean, I felt like I was kind of stretching a little bit on TRNR, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't force it. I should just be more patient and just wait for something that's a little cleaner. And then next thing you know, SPAI pops up, and off it goes. And this one had what I thought was a little bit of a better catalyst. But as we saw, there were insiders who were ready to sell. Here's my take. If I keep showing up every single day, I keep stepping up to the plate, and I'm looking at charts and stocks that I really think have the potential to go 15, 20 cents, but best case scenario, if they squeeze through $0.50 whole dollar, could really open up, I'm going to get some that'll connect. Some of these trades on SPAI, when it started to pull away from 650, I was thinking, look, if this thing goes straight to 750 to 7, then we're looking at 750, 8, 859. And if you think back on the last few weeks, we've had a number of stocks where once they started to break away, they really move fast. I mean, we've had a number of stocks that have given us $10 a share, from 7 to 17, from 5 to 15, from 18 to 20 from 8 to 18, and then some that have gone even higher up in the 20s. So, they're not all going to pull away. This one just happened for whatever reason to have what seemed like insiders selling, and that's the luck of the draw. Okay, so that was the issue with this one. But we might have another one that looks very similar, doesn't have that variable, doesn't have that going on, and that's the one that ends up going up 300, 400%. And if I keep stepping up to the plate with these entries at 657, 758, etc., I'm going to have some really nice days. So I think today could have easily been double the profit, maybe even triple, if we hadn't had those walls of sellers. But, it is what it is. So I did the best I could, worked with the range that we were given. Even though I only traded this between $5 and $7, only $2 a share of range, but that was enough for me to make, well, $32,000. So that was pretty solid. I've got to be grateful for that. And, like I said, this is such a recovery from where I was sitting a week ago at this time, right? Last week at this time, I had just taken the biggest loss of the entire year. I was sort of deep in this max loss red day trying to figure out, okay, am I going to have the discipline to have a smooth recovery, right? And one of the things I was able to remind myself of is that in reality, I didn't lose more in that one day than I've been making on average in just one day. So even though it was a max loss day, because the market has been so volatile and I've been able to get my daily average as high as it's been, taking a loss is disappointing. You take a loss where you lose 3 weeks of progress, that hurts. There's no question about it, right? Then the only way to recover is through discipline. But if you can keep those losses as small as possible, then mentally it's so much easier to recover. So then that goes back to learning your triggers and knowing when to walk away. So for me, going from green to red, that's a big trigger. A second trigger, giving back half of my profit on the day, especially if I'm way over my daily goal. That can be a trigger. Next thing you know, I go from giving back half to giving back 70%, 80%, 90%. Now I'm flat. Now I'm red on the day. That basically happened on Tuesday. I had a daily goal and I went all the way to nearly halfway to max loss before coming back and finishing, sort of in the middle. So, this is a battle. It's a mental battle being a trader. Once you learn the strategy and you've got your skills and, you've been doing this for a while, it's having the mental strength and the discipline to follow your rules. All right, so that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoy the recap. I hope you come over and check out our Black Friday sales here at Warrior Trading, and I'll be back at it live streaming bright and early tomorrow morning for members at Warrior Trading. So I'll see you guys in the morning. I'll remind you as always, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so manage your risk, take it slow, and I'll see you guys here tomorrow morning.